Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel, Drawing with Michael Clarida Arts. So this morning we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing, a little bit of product review. Occasionally I get sent products through the mail for me to review, and typically the only way that I will review a product if it applies in some capacity to the artist's life. You know, I review computers, I review technology, peripherals, and occasionally I get the opportunity to review some pens. So the people, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this correctly, over at TkTk, if you can see that right there, sent me this Surface pen for me to review. And I am excited. I love reviewing products, for one thing. It's one of those things, because I am a product designer, that I like looking at not only the product itself, how it performs, but also the package design and the overall spectrum of exactly what the product is trying to accomplish. And, at the end, I'll give a recommendation if I think it's something that you should look into, or if you should skip it. And I'm pretty lenient when it comes to products, because I think, I think that as long as it accomplishes the task and it doesn't have things in the way, from driver installation to battery installation to poor package design to, how it feels and somewhat, and going through the whole, review process. I think that, typically, depending on the price, there's investment versus return. So we'll get a little bit into that. But this particular product, again, came to me from the guys over at TkTk. Looks like TkTk. Either way, we're going to go ahead and review it. I'm working on a Surface Book today. And you guys know that I've reviewed numerous Surface products in the past. This particular Surface Book is a little bit older, but it still supports, I believe, all of the things this pen is touting that it can do. So let's go ahead and get into it and start the review process. Okay, so here is what I'll be drawing on today. Hopefully I don't mess up my camera angle here too much. And this is the box that it came in. Very simple, very reminiscent of some of the other pens that I've received in the mail. And it's got a nice sleeve that covers everything. Nice printing on the outside. The box, the paper is nice. It's not too cheap. It's obviously not going to be on the level of, let's say, Apple or Microsoft, but it is doing the job. So, Sketchbook Pro, what a great program. It is one of my favorite programs. I've used it on all my Surface devices, and it's really great with the Intrigue Surface Pen protocol that this particular pen, the TkTk pen, uses. So I believe it's over 1,000 levels of pressure. There is no tilt support on older devices, and this, of course, is a little bit older of a device. This is a Surface Book. However, this is the i7 processor with the dedicated graphics card and the base, performance base, and it's got 16 gigs of RAM with 512 SSD. So it is a very powerful machine. So that being said, let's get into a little bit of drawing to show you the prowess of the TkTk device. So I can tell you immediately, let's do a little drawing experiment here. So let's make sure that we're on brush size, which we are. So in the Intrigue world, you have what is known as the wiggle anomaly. So the wiggle anomaly happens pretty much has happened since the beginning. It's gotten better through the different iterations of the pens. So you're not seeing hardly any wiggle, which is really nice, horizontally or vertically, and that is awesome. However, what I am seeing, and I'm going to show you, this little thing right here that I just noticed. So let's try it again. We're seeing some breaks. I'm not really sure if that has to do with me or if it's the pen itself. So let's give a few more little indicate. Yeah, see, that's the pen. So, okay, so that and that. that basically is the pen not communicating pressure and stroke to the computer. So that is obviously not a good start. So conversely, let's look at the competitor, which would be the Raphael 520 stylus. This retails for about 50 bucks, and it's made by Renassier. This is a really great pen for artists. So let's go ahead down. Great pressure, and we're not seeing that break that we just saw in the line quality. So again, this is the Raphael. No breaks. Now we're going to go back to the TkTk. It's still pretty good. So I think what inadvertently happens is, since these buttons are really big and they're not recessed, what's going to happen whenever you're drawing is maybe you're going to hit that. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so again, I'm not hitting this at all, and I just saw that break again. There it is again. So obviously there's an issue with the driver, possibly inside, or the Intrig algorithm inside the pen. So let's get to drawing. Now what? Instead of drawing, I wanted to show you the diagonal. The diagonal is something that is inside of the computer and the Intrig technology. I think it's the digitizer. So whenever you draw diagonally, you see what's called the Intrig wiggle. And on this pen, it's probably the worst I've ever seen. Go really slow, and literally you can see it's just wiggling, and it's consistent, because I think it horizontally and vertically, that digitizer spaces out those sensors, and you're seeing that consistent spacing. So whenever I go to this pen, which is the Raphael 520, side-by-side comparison, the wiggle is less. It's still there, but it is considerably less. Now I can live with this kind of wiggle, because honestly, I don't draw this slow. And I don't know a lot of people who do, and if you are so agitated with that, this particular program does have a line smoother. So we're going to go ahead and boost this up to, like, I don't know, 60, 40? Let's do 40. And then whenever you do it, it smooths out that line to a perfect line. So let's go back to the TkTk with the line smoother. Honestly, even with the line smoother, you can actually see it wiggling. It is better, but honestly, I don't know who is going to draw with a 40 or even, a little bit less than that. So, all right, so let's go back. Let's do something really simple. Okay, so in terms of drawing, now the lead-in time or the lead-in response for these pens, it varies among each manufacturer. Lead-in time meaning the distance between where the pen will sense the computer will sense the pen. So if you look, I don't know why. Edit. Let's change our brush. Okay, so if you can see, it's about 1/8 of an inch. So it comes in right about 1/8 of an inch distance from the surface of the computer to the pen tip. Now that's important to note, because if I go to the Raphael, it's almost 1/2 inch. And that plays a big role in palm rejection. So the computer will sense right here, right whenever I put my hand down, it's sensing the pen distance. This pen right here, I put my hand down, it doesn't sense it until right right before it touches the screen. And that's important because you'll get false positives, right? In this program. In other programs, not so much. So let's go here. Let's draw a really simple pirate character. Another thing that I'm noticing, especially whenever I draw quickly, is stuff like this. You'll see this quite a bit with the budget pens. You'll come around and then it kind of loses tracking for just a brief moment, and then it doesn't have the ability to go ahead and recognize that you have that continual curve right there, and then it'll make up the difference from here to here, and it'll be a straight line. Okay, so let's draw something really simple. So whenever you're drawing quickly, it's not horrible. That's always a refreshing thing to say about a product, right? It's not horrible. You know, it's not bad. It feels okay. The pressure's okay. The sensitivity's okay. Is it amazing? No. But it's not one of those products that I'm like going to throw in the garbage. And you know, I have experienced some of those products in the past. You know, you get it and you're like, oh my gosh, how can this even be manufactured? So the fit and finish, the quality's there, the sensitivity is there. You know, as a spare pen in a pinch, you know, it's a viable option. You know, it's like I said, not a horrible pen. I'm not getting any false positives, which is really nice. And one of the things you have to set up too is the palm rejection, you know, ignore touch whenever I'm using my pen, and that of course is in the surface preferences settings dialog. So, okay, so here's his collar. Comes up here. Here's the other part of his collar. So on and so forth. You get the understanding. So let's go ahead and give him some stubble. Good pressure curve. You know, and one of the things that this is lacking that I think, you know, the original Surface Pen really has is the fact that it does have, the Surface Pen has an eraser. This does not. This has a capacitive screen rubber, so it's going to act as your finger. So I can go in here and I can draw with my finger, and whenever I flip this around, it also has that. So it's kind of, I mean, that's kind of, in my opinion, that's useless. You know, the eraser, however, is pre-programmed into this particular pen. So if I want to erase, I just press that front button and I get a great eraser. You know, very easy to use. So that's just a little character for you guys. So let's go ahead and get out of there. All right, so let's go to Photoshop, because I know a lot of you guys don't use Sketchbook Pro, and I totally get that. It is one of those programs, again, that, you know, I love, but Photoshop is the industry standard. So let's see what it feels like in Photoshop. So let's go File, New. Let's create. Okay, so let's go full screen. We're going to hit the layer. Okay. I didn't want to do that. Layers. Okay. I have noticed with this particular machine, for some reason, it does have a black square in there, and I think that has to do with the video card. So if I look, this of course has nothing to do with the pen, but you know, you're going to look at that and go, hey dude, there's a black square in there. So if I go to Performance, Advanced Settings, and I'm at Basics. So I could probably get rid of one of these, use Native Operating System GPU acceleration. So I could probably get rid of that. And now it's going to use the dedicated graphics card. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's go back. No. The native is a Intel, I believe, 630 high definition. So let's go back. So it would go in between them. So now I just wanted to use the dedicated graphics card, which is the NVIDIA GTX graphics card that's in there. File, New. Procreate. Okay. Yeah, see now that black square is gone because I went to dedicated GPU. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to grab just a simple brush, my favorite brush. Okay. So right now, the pressure curve is not great. I'm going to be honest with you. So let's go ahead to brush settings, shape dynamics. We're at pen pressure, size jitter, minimum, angle, roundness, texture, smoothing. So there is a smoother. Is there a smoother on there? No. So let's go ahead. We're gonna turn on opacity. We're gonna go down to about 60, depending on pressure. So let's go over to the Raphael. Again, the Raphael is going to feel different because it's got that rubber nib on the smooth glass surface, whereas this is just slick, very similar to, let's say, the Apple Pencil. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to draw pretty much the same, and hold on, let's go back. Pretty good. Okay. So the maximum pressure that it's going to get, there we go. Let's go back. Let's turn that on. Let's do a little bit of less flow. Again, the pressure is not great. Even though I have adjusted the pressure curve a few times on that Surface app, it's not really that great. Not in Photoshop. And I'm actually surprised because the brush itself feels pretty good. I'm sorry, the pen. Let's do this here. Great palm rejection, though. And he's got a little bit down. Make that brush a little bit bigger. Let's see how she flies with that. Okay. So not great. I'm going to be honest with you. The pressure is very heavy. So let's go over to the Raphael. It just feels, it's got a more premium quality feel to it. So, alrighty. Get some shadows in here. Okay. Back to the TkTk. Yeah, the pressure isn't great, so I'm going to see what's going on here. Surface. Surface. Yeah, and it's indicated it's a really great pressure curve in here, but whenever you go to Photoshop, it's no bueno. It does not feel good. Let's go to another brush here. Let's turn that off. Let's go ahead and do some shading here. It's not bad. I mean, you know, how does it compare to some of the other pens that are on the market? I mean, it's okay. It's just okay. Okay, so here is the ad they have on the Amazon website. I decided to just go ahead and visit it really quick. It looks like the price point is 30 bucks. So it indicates authorized accessories for Microsoft Surface Pro 7, 10.6.543 Surface Go, Book, Laptop Studio 3, Tablet, Stylus for Windows, HP, and Asus using the Intrig technology. And it just goes through and it indicates wide compatibility, official authorized in parentheses. They got a certificate of Microsoft adopting the authorized chip to match Surface devices having better performance than unauthorized pens. 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is great. Palm rejection tech, which is great. 3D CAD design, so on and so forth. And it's got, I guess, 2 ratings. So it says #1 new release, which is great. So you go through and it indicates some of the things that it has over the competitors. Microsoft certified, I guess, which is a big deal. Support the hot models, so on and so forth. So not a bad offering from TkTk for the Surface Pen alternative, and at a budget price point. So one of the things that I'm always conscious of whenever I do a review like this is the bigger picture. So again, whenever it comes to technology, you have those YouTubers that really will rip technology and look at all the negatives. So that's not really what I'm about. I'm looking at this particular pen, the TkTk, in relationship to the value that you're going to be getting. So obviously, it's not up to the level, let's say, of the original Surface Pen. Let's be realistic. Of course, the Surface Pen is expensive, and it's matched exactly with the Surface device. If you don't want to pay that, then the TkTk is a great alternative for you. If you're an artist like me and you need those devices which are specialty to your particular craft or what you do in your work, then you're going to opt for something like this, which is the Raphael 520. This is a specialized stylus, not for, I don't want to say not for general use because it does that, but it does one thing very well. It draws well. It's got great pressure curve, it's got great sensitivity, good lead in. All of these things make it a great stylus for drawing. Is it a great stylus for, let's say, taking notes or just perusing? And in addition to that, it is more expensive than the TkTk device. This is, again, about $55, and I have seen them as high as $65. And also, this particular device is rechargeable. But it doesn't have an eraser. So you look at all these things that the TkTk has and it doesn't have, and you could see it's got great pressure curve. The battery inside will probably last you about a year with decent use, heavy use, in fact. It did come with a replaceable nib, which is great. It's got two buttons, and one of them is pre-programmed for an eraser. I didn't go into programming these because I think that I'm sure you could do that, but you can't do it specific to the program, which really is not very good. In addition, this is completely useless. I think that in and of itself, maybe if you want to use the pen and then go through as a finger and you just want to do things on your Surface device, I think that might work. But I have one of those already, which is my finger, and ultimately I'm not going to really turn the pen around and use that for anything else. I'm going to keep using it as a cursor. Fit and finish quality is good. The barrel length is really good. It's comparable again to the Surface device or the Surface Pen, And comparable to, let's say, the Raphael is shorter, considerably shorter, almost a half an inch shorter. Um, and, you know, whenever I was putting it together, again, little things that I notice as a product designer, whenever you're screwing that, the barrel onto the barrel, you feel some burrs, so that it hasn't been cleaned up as nice as I'd want. But overall fit and finish and the quality is, I'd say, an 8 out of 10. Um, I would have to use this pen literally for the next 6 months, every single day, to give a solid recommendation for this pen. Now, at 30 bucks, I could buy 3 of these and I still would not hit the price point that the retail is on the Surface Pen. Now, the Surface Pen does come with, I think, a year warranty. I'm not sure about the warranty on this product, but it also comes with the nibs, depending on which particular model you buy. Um, Overall, it is what it is. I give it probably a 6 out of 10 for drawing experience, because that's what I'm coming at it from. Um, Buying these Surface device pens are kind of a pig in a poke, because I've had really bad ones. Believe it or not, Wacom makes one called the Bamboo, which is horrible. Do not ever buy the Bamboo. I did a review on here, and whenever I used it, it performed okay. But then I started getting some weird anomalies with it, and I eventually ended up getting rid of it. So that being said, it's not a very easy task to create a pen like this and then to get Microsoft certified. So I commend TkTk for doing that. Um, it's just one of those things where, everybody's different. Everybody's going to have a different viewpoint of what's good and what's bad. I'm coming at it from a person who draws a lot, and I draw on devices a lot, so I kind of have a good feel of what is good and what is not. There's places where you sacrifice, there's places where you want things to be better, but they're not. And believe me, not every product is created to be the ultimate. Again, at 30 bucks, you could buy, probably buy a couple of these and be good to go for years. And it does have good pressure curves. So, um, I say not every product is created to last and be perfect, and that's a reality we have to face as consumers. I recently purchased a Apple product, and it failed miserably, and I've never had a product like that fail that bad. And it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. So far, the taste in my mouth of the TkTk's really good. I think it's a great device at that price point. That's the caveat to that. At that price point, if it exceeds $30, my expectancy for it to be much better is going to be much greater, right? I knew what I was getting into when I bought the Renacier, and I knew what I was getting into whenever I purchased the Microsoft Surface Pen. It's paired with the device. It's designed to go with it. So, as an extra pen, as a pen in a pinch, as something that, you just throw in your bag, I think this is a great option. As a primary option for my day-to-day drawing, I think that this is probably not going to fit my bill as an illustrator and an artist, but as somebody that does a lot of note-taking, this is, again, a great option. So I didn't want to drone on too long about that. We've done a lot of reviews on this channel, and I love doing reviews. I love having products sent to me because it gives me a perspective of what kind of tech is out there at different price points. The reality is, guys, technology is moving so quickly, and it's you have some drop off, you have some gains, and sometimes you buy a product wishing that it would fill all your check all your boxes, and it doesn't. And when it doesn't check all the boxes, we tend to bash it. But you need to be on the positive side. Man, kudos to them for getting that certification, and definitely, if you're interested in that, go and check them out. Look up TkTk, that's one word, and then put pen at the end. So it's TkTk, one word, dash pen in Amazon, and see if that's going to flip, it's going to check all your boxes for you. I think it checked a few boxes for me, and who knows, at that price point, it might check all yours. So that's all I have for today, guys. Getting back into drawing, and I've had a lot of people request tutorials and stuff, and we're going to get to that. But right now, we're just plotting right along and growing the channel. So thank you, guys. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and we'll see you soon, okay?